Now, folks, oh, take a look at those decibels. There we are, laddie. All right, so back when I was 10 years old, and it was we're going into like before my mother dies, right? The new school year starts, and my biological mother is not dead yet. She's still, scrapping it out in the hospital, right? And I'm going to elementary school. I'm in grade 5. I'm in Mr. Ronald Elliff's class at Camas Prairie Elementary School. And they would send me to these guidance counselors. I forget the white woman's name. Um, the guy's name was Dr. Walker. I think he was the uncle of a couple of classmates in there, a couple of sister classmates. Dr. Walker, old black man, one of the old too much cologne niggas. And I would get sent to these counselors because they know my mother's dying and that whole business. And I'm already reaching a point of jaded at by now. And I didn't know at this time that it was just logical to lie and get shit over with because no one is really gonna do anything about capitalism, right? And so I'm in there one day in their little guidance counselor thing. And I think they may have asked, oh, what did you have for breakfast? And again, I did not know that this was a leading question. And so I was just like, oh, I didn't have anything for breakfast. Like that was just the real deal. That was a real answer for me. It was just like, oh no, I don't always eat. That's just not a thing I always do. So what? Who cares? And that's why I answered so casually. And then they go and they get with CPS, Child Protective Services. They don't actually protect or serve shit. Kind of like the police. They don't protect or serve shit. So CPS, they go through the house that my mother has me in while she's in the hospital, like, and that's one of her friends' houses, and go and investigate the whole damn house and interview all the children living there and shit. And it was definitely a house of impoverished people, like they're going through a tough time, especially those damn children. And I inadvertently kicked that off by answering the question right. Now, what's interesting is they didn't solve anything from that, right? Like, there was no guarantee that I was going to eat shit the next day. That household I was in was not less impoverished. They didn't say, let's get his mother better health care and see if she can live longer with this AIDS thing. They didn't do any of that shit. They just knew that that was a problem now and kept getting paid their fucking, taxpayer funded salaries. They did nothing. All right. And that tends to be my problem with these stories because I've lived this story. And in all irony, I was born out here. So we're going over to New Jersey in Monmouth County. All right. And we're going back to mid-December for this one. And there's students in the class, the grade 3 class. And they're at their home computers doing their online learning. And the teacher's like, hey, what the hell is going on with this here 9-year-old gal? First off, she's 9 in 3rd grade. And also, that's not what the teacher said. But they were like, hey, this little motherfucker keep fidgeting, right? The teacher's saying that. And she could not seem to sit still or pay attention. The teacher told her to focus. And the girl abruptly started crying. And her cries turned into what folks call sobs, which I did not know there was a differentiation. So given the context clues, I'm guessing that crying is when you are clearly unhappy and there is tear from eye. And I'm guessing that sobbing is when like you're kind of making the ugly noises, the faces. So I'm guessing that's the differentiation. I never knew of one, but they're differentiating between crying and sobbing here. All right, so they're still on that Zoom call for that. And that's when the girl made a stunning confession, as the journalist puts it here. In front of the whole virtual class, she said she was starving. There wasn't enough food in her home, and she was really, really hungry. The story was relayed to the folks over there at patch.com. They do some local journalism out there, by Kim Guadagno, and that was a former New Jersey lieutenant governor and Republican gubernatorial candidate who now runs Fulfill, which is a food bank on Monmouth and Ocean counties. Oh, excuse me. And here is a quote from Guadagno. They said, it turns out that the girl's mother lost her job when all the restaurants shut down in March. She hasn't been able to work since March, and she does not qualify for unemployment benefits. Now let's say those two sentences again. She has not been able to work since March. She does not qualify for unemployment benefits. They're not going to solve the problems. They're going to cry or maybe even sob at the symptoms, but they're not going to solve the problem. And you know it. You fucking know it. Continuing, the Guadagno continues saying, can you imagine the trauma this little girl was going through to burst into tears and say this in front of a whole class of her peers? End quote. The girl's mother is a single mother, and she is one of 3 young children in the home. Excuse me. And this is a quote from Carla Bardines, a spokeswoman for the food bank. They said, hey, if a child is hungry, then typically the whole family is hungry, because what we noticed, that parents will feed their children before they feed themselves. All right. And which, let that be a note to all you doofy ass fucking Neo-Hotep niggas. Feed the children before you feed yourself. Now, a little bit more information, but that is this individual story, that child and that problem that they're not going to solve. Guadagno did not want to reveal which school district this occurred in, as she said the pandemic has caused hunger to skyrocket throughout Monmouth and Ocean counties, often in towns. Often in towns or pockets just a few miles away from million-dollar mansions and beachfront second homes. A quote from where's the quote from this person? Okay, same individual. So Guadagno quotes saying, food scarcity is in Neptune. It's in Asbury Park, Red Bank, Freehold, and sections of Toms River, sections of the Outer Islands, sections of Stafford Township, parts of Lakewood, and the former lieutenant governor. You don't believe it driving through Monmouth, but it's here, especially now. Also, inadvertently telling, these are big sentences here, all right? Check these big fucking sentences. Out of work since March, doesn't qualify for unemployment. And in this one, she names all the places where hunger is hit, said you drive through it, it doesn't seem like it, but it's here. All right, some shit that I don't know if I really say on the program much. I think I tend to just say this when, just riffing with one of the homies in conversation. That McMurica, it's a shithole country. It's like when they say these third world countries, McMurica, third world country with Wi-Fi. All right, Phoenix Calida stepping in for the next segment. We're just wrapping up on the little girl in Monmouth County, New Jersey, that you may have seen the headline, mentioned to her classmates live on a classroom Zoom that she's starving. Oh, yeah. And the former lieutenant governor that they said, well, she hasn't been to work since March and doesn't qualify for unemployment.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
And then later in the article, that same person, Guadagno, said that you drive through this counties and it doesn't look like this starvation and hunger's going on, but it's there.
Yeah, it's always there. It's always been there.
It's always been there. I think that was this is where you start getting fuzzy with the wine cellar history. It gets to that area where I don't know if Phoenix was here or not, but I remember it was some of that shit about white men. And you know what, you may have been here because it sounds like I'm talking about Make America Great Again.
Yeah.
And that idea that white men have, and a lot of people have, about the 50s, as if there were no fucked up poor white people in the 50s.
Right. Yeah.
Nobody was on heroin in the 50s. Nobody was fucked up. What the fuck do you think those country songs were about?
Yeah.
The pre 9/11 country music.
Well, like what's actually extra interesting about that is that some of the biggest first country stars, like the old school ones, came from absolute poverty, right? It was Loretta Lynn, like her famous song was "I'm a Coal Miner's Daughter." Like, and she was like one of the first, I guess now you would call it like a diva, I guess, or whatever, is like a female presence in that genre. But she was one of the first like country divas, and her whole thing was about a coal miner's daughter. And that was like in the 70s and 80s. Fucking Dolly Parton, she straight up said that basically she styled her look after who was most likely like the town survival sex worker with like the big hair and the makeup. And yeah, like it's all, or even if you go back and listen to old country songs talking about fucking, dirt floors and fucking going out and picking cotton in ditches, that was white people we're talking about.
Yeah. The cotton picking white man.
Like what? But yeah, it's very bizarre to me. But I think Americans just have this thing like, oh, I see houses and lawns. There can't be poverty here. And it's like, even if you're in a house, you may not be able to afford your heat or to fill your fridge or, whatever. But,
Yeah. And on some level, I mean, back to the existence of landlords for some reason. It's like, yeah, they want to raise the wage to the $15 an hour. Well,
we're not going to. It's already been decided.
Yeah, but like first off, like mathematically, not enough, right? Like one person cannot, and we're talking live comfortably. Like I'm tired of this manufactured poverty. Like I say, as long as America loves to tear down some old shit to build up new shit, tear down every single thing that is less than 2 bedrooms. Destroy it and rebuild, make everything minimum 2 bedrooms, minimum 2 bathrooms. Stop with this shit. Stop deliberately making things for it to be poverty.
Yeah.
Right? I think we do say manufactured, institutionalized poverty. Yeah, get rid of that shit. Yep. I know white people don't actually value anything. I see what the fuck y'all do to shit all the time.
They value their stuff.
Yeah, everything outside of Europe. Maybe that's, oh my Jesus. I'm not a theorist. I'm not a philosopher.
Okay.
I think white people, the worst ones, left Europe because they knew what they were going to do to all their precious things. If they'd have never left Europe, you see what they do to everything else. They'd have fucked up that Mona Lisa. They'd have had a riot around, what's that? The Eiffel Tower?
Well, I mean, they did that to Germany.
Oh,
like during World War II.
Oh Jesus! Really?
They bombed hella fucking, like there are like medieval paintings and shit that just aren't coming back because they were in German museums and got bombed during World War II.
If you keep your focus primarily on capitalism and patriarchy, almost anything you assume about white people is true. I just spit that out randomly, like, hey, this is a thought. Phoenix is like, here's a fact to back that up. There's so much shit.
Yeah.
And if you're white,
I mean, they gave us scorched earth policy. It's literally called scorched earth policy.
And they use the word policy.
Yeah, scorched earth, and then salting the earth after the fact. Like, that's not just right, because maybe people don't know, but this was actually a thing in ancient times. Like Romans would do this where, when they conquered a people, they would burn down the fields so nobody would have food. And it wasn't enough to burn down the fields. They would go and put shit on the ground after everything was burned so that it couldn't grow next season. It's very much a it's white supremacy is a death cult.
So let's just go ahead and clutch that pearl about the starving little girl when you're not going to solve that problem. All right, folks. Wine Cellar Media, phoenix.fothermuckingcom. We got to put up a GoFundMe. The car is totaled. Phoenix Kalita survived the car crash.
I did. And my bruises are getting better.
I make a lot of noise with my face that apparently my niece actually listens to for 12 years.
She does, which is good.
All right. Yeah, that is an interesting break in segments. It's been so long since we recorded the last segment that I talked to an individual for 2.5 hours.
Yes.
And we inadvertently grew the household this year.
Yep. Which is good, though.
Yeah.
I think it's good, yeah.
Another person.
Yeah, I mean, well,
you just want someone smart to hang out with. Fucking
no, I mean, something that we talk about between ourselves a lot and on the podcast a lot is how we didn't have a lot of family advantage. Our families weren't support systems. So now that we have an opportunity to be a familial support system, I think that's a good thing. And I think we should do it,
Okay. And there's a whole bunch of extra shit that's just all sorts of trigger warnings and shit. Yeah.
And shit is a good way to put it. Yes.
Yeah, it is fucking tough. All right. Are you cooled off? Close the window.
Yeah, close the window.
All right, folks want to be let in on that. That's breaking the fourth wall, buddy.
It is. Yes, I'm always hot, and this room is always extra warm. Because I don't know. I don't know why, but just the way the heat vent is set up, this room is always hot. So I was like, open the window. It's so hot in here. Because it'll be like 5 to 10 degrees warmer in here than the rest of the house.
Yeah. Yeah, significant.
It's just like, oh.
And I have a fan right there by that vent because I kind of want to just keep that air moving because I have a shelf fairly close to that vent.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't want that kind of heat blasting on that shelf, that's my pseudoscience that no one wanted to know about. Nobody was interested in that shit.
Nobody?
I know what you're interested in.
Oh, what are they interested in?
The white man.
Uh-huh.
That's what everyone's always looking for. All right.
Are you sure?
Oh, hell yeah.
Sure.
When we're looking for something that is complete and utter nonsense, we know who we're looking for.
Florida man?
This one, I forgot. It's been so long. It's been like over 24 hours since I read the article. But this article is up by Timothy Bella. And the headline we have here, a Capitol rioter texted his ex during the insurrection to call her a moron.
Okay.
She turned him in.
Oh, okay. Because I automatically had questions. I was like, wait, did he call her a moron for being at the protest? Or did he call her a moron because he was woke enough to be there and she wasn't? That was my first question, but now I know.
You'll see the smug look on this white man's face.
It's definitely a look.
You don't think that he knows what's going on? I'll actually bring his image up here for you you folks that think you're so special and you need to see it.
Really?
Oh, well, that's for video people, and I think no one really cares to hear that anymore. All right, for the podcast listeners, you know what you signed up for. All right. So standing on the Capitol Hill steps, January 6th, Richard Machete, that is, and it's not spelled like that, but yeah, it looks like his name is Machete, Michetti.
Yeah.
He allegedly took a break from rioting so that Phoenix could kick the camera stand leg.
That's exactly why.
And to argue with his ex-girlfriend over text message. Which also like X.
Yeah.
Leave her, X yourself out of her life, nigga. What the fuck?
No.
Hey, guess what felonies I'm committing? Ha. Looks like you left a felon, loser. What the fuck is your deal?
He is doing he was saving democracy.
Like, yeah, guess who's going to be putting money on my books sooner than later?
He was saving democracy.
I don't think they want democracy. I think they want what they think is a republic. They think it's a republic what they want.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like, no, like when we say white supremacy is a death cult, and like these folks know what the capitalism will do to them, but they still want it. So it's like, They want to play slave gambling.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because, like, you realize the 13th Amendment is for everybody that goes to prison, right, Mr. White Man? like, like it's basically just intersectional slavery, my good man. Like they're bringing you all in.
Yeah.
All right, that's the real identity politics. Prison is very inclusive.
Prison is inclusive.
Yeah, nigga.
Yes, all inmates.
Holy shit, the one place the white man thinks he's excluded from. No, nigga. This is what you wanted. This is what we play for. So he and as we tend to not get past the first sentence, so after sending photos and videos of the mob and boasting how he had avoided tear gas, Machete parroted Donald Trump's false claims of election fraud. Quote, "If you can't see the election was stolen, you're a moron." End quote.
Okay.
Okay, and the next day, the woman he had insulted, promptly told the FBI that her ex was at the Capitol, handing over to law enforcement the string of text messages, photos, and videos he had sent to her. Mr. Machete, who lives in Ridley Park, Pennsylvania, has now been charged with knowingly entering a restricted building, violent entry and disorderly conduct on Capitol grounds, and obstruction of Congress.
Yes.
If convicted, Mr. Machete, who was arraigned on Tuesday in federal court in Philadelphia, faces up to 20 years in prison, reported the Philadelphia Inquirer.
Oh, that's fun.
Like we said, prison will let you in.
They will.
Yeah, you're not going to show up to prison and they're going to be like, no, no white men allowed.
When one door closes.
Oof.
That's a great meme.
Yeah, when one plantation closes, get your ass on that line, boy. Get to digging that ditch, Mr. White Man. This is what you wanted.
Yeah, well, you know.
Neither Machete nor his attorney, the federal public defender Kathleen Gahan, immediately responded to a request for comment late Wednesday.
Well, that's interesting.
Wow.
That he has a public defender and not a private attorney.
And we can't all afford an Imani. All right. All right. I know you're feeling just fine and gandy about that. Wow. Mr. Machete joins the growing list of more than 200 whole people folks who done got charged-ified with insurrection. Many of the alleged rioters were identified by law enforcement through text messages sent to family and friends that bragged of their presence in DC last month. Now again, that's why I can't take words like insurrection serious.
Yeah.
These were goofballs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like who was that? Cliven Bundy. Like, send us snacks.
Yeah. And please. Like, y'all niggas suck. Y'all niggas ran out of snacks. What the fuck is wrong with y'all niggas? The fuck is all them cargo pockets for, nigga? Grab a Snickers. Why wait?
It's for bullets, obviously.
Ah, yes. All right, Mr. White Man, you take down the police that you voted to overfund. You take them down. Was the attack on the U.S. Capitol an attempted coup? Many have argued that, that President Donald Trumpfort, his efforts amounted to an attempted coup on January 6th. But was it? And why does that matter? A little bit more. The ex-girlfriend, who was not named in the 10-page statement of facts, told the FBI that Mr. Machete had texted her on January 5th that he was taking a train to Washington from his home in the Philadelphia suburbs. You see, and then that's where it's like, and we've had folks on this very outlet that said these are people that lost everything, and that's why we have to stop and correct those statements immediately.
Yep.
Because these are not people that lost everything.
Yeah.
That's just, you've got to qualify folks. If you want to get into like this kind of commentary shit, you can, and you can say wrong shit, but That's not ethicalized.
It's not ethical at all.
No, like make sure you're on the ball. Don't just say shit because it's a ideologically conducive talking point. Yeah, conducive.
Well, it's not even it's not even that, but
yeah,
in the long run, it's not conducive.
yeah, like let's be on point. Like this cat can afford to live in East Coast suburbs, right? It's not like New York is the only place with high rent.
Right.
Machete told her he was going to DC because he believed the election done got stolified, a false claim relentlessly echoed by Trump following President Biden's win. Wonder how many more popular votes Biden, got.
I don't know.
Yeah, well, how many more people settled? Said, I guess, all right, I guess this is the rapist we're going with.
Yep.
This one has less accusers.
Well, he did promise that $2,000 that we're not getting, that nobody's getting.
Yeah, it's like fucking, I keep thinking, every time I go to that mailbox, I'm like, are we really going to get the W-2s before the stimulus? And then if we get the W-2s and we start heading on down to the H&R Block, as soon as we finish, I'm going to be like, are we going to get that return back before the stimulus?
Probably.
Are we going to get them on the same day?
Maybe.
Jesus. All right. So Trump urged his supporters in a January 6th speech in front of the White House to march to the Capitol as Congress was certifying the election results, and Machete was, excuse me, wearing a Chicago White Sox hat, a dark hoodie, and a surgical mask, joined the thousands who breached the building minutes later. Quote, he said, "It's going down here." He's from Philadelphia. He does not talk like that.
He does not talk like that.
That's just my Republican voice. It's going down here. He texted his exit to leave her alone. Do you know what will be the most amusing thing? Because now I want the chisme, the gossip. I want to know if he broke up with her.
Probably.
That would make it even more classic that he keeps messaging her. And he continued, and this is also in a text message to her. Literally, we stormed the building.
Oh.
They held us back with spray and tear gas and paintballs.
I thought they were just innocent protesters who were passionate.
They stormed
the building. All right.
The Trump supporter told his former partner, that's very, don't put that on him. You know he's too homophobic for partner. That told his former partner that while his eyes were burning, he and thousands there were doing the right thing to, quote, stop the vote. It's fraud. Stop the vote. It's fraud. This is our country.
Okay.
You know what? I wouldn't expect this guy to punctuate. That's a fact. He further text messages saying, "This is tyranny. They told us we rigged the election and there's nothing you can do about it. What do you think should be done?"
Leave her be, Jesus.
Yeah, but you never really escape. I can't imagine this is the guy you want to be around.
No. And I like how in the article it specifies that it is a surgical mask, but in the picture it's not on his face.
The mask here, I'll go ahead and bring that image up too for the y'all video looking folks. Because not only that, but I like saying this while you can see it, because dadgummit, the mask is so low on this nigga's shit that it's under his beard.
Yeah.
Like he literally has, and I'm not talking mustache. I'm not talking about the side, the goatee pillars. Yeah, I'm gonna call those pillars.
Oh, right.
It's under chin beard.
Yeah.
It's that low. Like it's so low that I can't imagine the elastic is comfortable on the ears. He's added unnecessary stretchery.
He's suffering for the cause.
And he's right next to a white man that is whiter than him
and has no mask at all.
No mask,
and
no
the man
facial hair.
Him, and the woman next to him.
Oh, Jesus.
And next to some rando who has a sign that says Jesus saves.
And is on the phone, and I bet he it looks like he might have his mask up.
It looks like he has a mask on.
Yeah, like because his glove is black, but there's more black protruding from behind the glove, and I think
Yeah.
that might be his mask.
Yeah. So Jesus Saves guy is wearing a mask. All right.
Yes. All right, folks. This is Wine Cellar Media. This is .com. We have a GoFundMe up that we're just linking everywhere as soon as possible, because we need help, nigga, replacing this car. And thank you if you ISB can helpify that gummit.
Helpify is not a word.
There we go. All right, Phoenix McColored woman.
Yes.
I was having a little bit of a digital trouble. I'm actually having a great deal of digital trouble. This damn thing. Yeah, this Minicam application. It's a dope application, but it'll just be like, yeah, I'm a great video application, but guess how good I am with audio?
Oh no.
No. That's the answer. Just
That's
fucking
just no.
Just no. I don't shine on audio. But as far as video goes, funky dope application to use. All right, so you had some heat from those folks over there at the Daily Beast, which is a very partisan outlet.
Yes.
I mean, they're not nearly as assholish about it as the Daily Banter.
Right.
The Daily Banter is horrible. Ches Pazienza, get lost, boy, go visit your big cousin. Terrible outlet, the Daily Banter, very fucking bad. The Daily Beast, not as bad, still a partisan hack outlet, but not as bad. So like, what is the context for this? Megyn Kelly was on Bill Maher.
So Megyn Kelly went on the Bill Maher show, and basically because Bill Maher pretends he's like leftist or something, I don't know, so he's still like a favorite of Democrats everywhere, but basically they sat around together and commiserated about how hard it is for white people now and how white people are being targeted. And like, do you want me to go through the article? Or do you want?
I mean, I guess maybe if there's I mean, is it worth it? I mean, we've got video, and
we're gonna watch the whole video of them talking on the show.
I kind of want to do it. It's
Right.
about a 5-minute clip, but we are gonna preempt it because this is something we've been saying in the Wine Cellar.
Yes.
Megyn Kelly knows better.
Yes.
All right. You got to remember how much of this shit is performance art. Just how I think we played the clip some episodes ago with the how Greta Van Susteren and Rachel Maddow. That's my friend.
Yep.
That's my friend.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and remember back in I think it was 2012, if I remember right. Don't quote me on that. But Chris Matthews put out that book, The Tipper and the Gipper.
Mm-hmm.
You remember that shit?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it was all about Tipper Gore. And I don't know who the fuck I obviously did not read the book, but Tipper Gore and who was that other motherfucker? I think it was about the Reagan administration and how in politics we used to be able to just get along and hammer out legislation. Remember talking about the Reagan administration in the 80s? You know how we talk about the alt-right now or whoever the fuck now?
Yeah.
If there was a Twitter and shit like that back then, people would have been like, who the fuck are these moral majority assholes?
Mm-hmm.
Who are these silent majority assholes?
Yeah.
All right. And Chris Matthews is all about fucking how those people were great to work with.
Mm-hmm.
That's what his whole last book was about.
Yeah.
You know, but they know better. And here's one of those moments, right? And this is one where we're kind of going to dance back in time to when before Bill O'Reilly was some sort of unemployed welfare cheat. All right, which is what we know he is. That's what Phoenix Leader tells me all the time. Bill O'Reilly's an unemployed
I've never said that.
welfare cheat. She calls him that with her voice. All right. So check this out. This old segment from the Bill O'Reilly show that I don't have date stamped.
So do you believe in the white privilege theory?
It's got a lot of evidence behind it. If you look at the statistics, Bill, they're alarming. And I did a little research before the segment, just to tick off a few for your viewers.
All right. She did a little research just before the segment. Plus also just looking at shit and hearing shit your entire life before this moment. But yeah, so she did a little research. Also remember, Megyn Kelly, you see that face you're looking at? That's a lawyer.
Yeah.
All right. Megyn Kelly is and I think she's also like a piano player.
Is she really?
Yeah, like she went out like her parents sent her out to like some British English college, some shit like that. Like, oh, she knows better.
A few for your viewers. Black unemployment rate in Ferguson is 3 times the white unemployment rate.
Okay, so clearly this was 2014. This was
Right.
around Ferguson time.
Black men between the ages of 16 and 24 have an almost 50% unemployment rate. For whites, it's 16%. In the United States, a black child is almost 4 times as likely.
Now, also, this is something I've talked about just sociologically as far as our rhetoric goes. Think about it, and maybe it might be hard to think about because this is like one of my own quirks that I've been paying attention to since I was a teenager. But I rarely hear white people say black child or black children. They say black kids, right? And there's a connotation of that. Like a child is so much more precious than a kid.
Unemployment rate. For whites, it's 16%. In the United States, a black child is almost 4 times as likely to live in a poor neighborhood as a white child is. 20% of white kids are in single parent homes. 52% of black kids are. The incarceration rate is 6 times higher for blacks than it is for whites. There's segregated housing in Ferguson. There's underperforming schools. Both of those correlate.
She used the word segregated. She knows what the fuck is going on.
Strongly with low prospects in life, and this area, St. Louis, has a noticeably disadvantaged situation when it comes to folks who are born poor getting out of poverty over the course of their life. Places like,
oh, apparently Megyn Kelly knows that you can't just pull yourself up by your bootstraps. She fucking knows better.
Right.
Seattle, you got a real shot at it. Places like St. Louis, not so much. All of that, and not to mention in 2008, the Bureau of Justice stats came out with this figure.
And also when she says Seattle, you have a better shot at it. And a programmer that I tend to disagree with on a lot of things because he's a conservative, Gus T. Renegade, he lives out there in Seattle, and he always tells other black people, he's like, he calls it the best plantation on earth. You know,
Your blacks are almost 3 times as likely as whites to be subjected to force or threatened with it by police. All of that explains the numbers by Pew that show that just 18% of blacks are confident in this Michael Brown investigation. 52% of whites are. 65% of blacks say the cops went too far. 33% of whites do. Those numbers are all correlated, Bill. They are all correlated.
Right.
She
She
knows.
knows that, but now she's saying what?
Yeah, now let's go to old it's
Okay, so I wanna
2021.
talk
She's kicking it with
Also, I fucking hate Bill Maher. I will be so happy when he dies.
yeah, that's
Fucking
gonna be.
smug bastard.
But man, like, given like he's probably one of them California kale shake drinking.
Fucking probably.
Yeah,
He's
he's
had
gonna.
health insurance forever.
Does he even need insurance?
Ugh.
Out of pocket is done.
We never covered him and Barry Weiss. He had Barry Weiss on a show, and basically they were whining about how, like, if you don't support Israel, you're anti-Semitic because Jewish identity should be tied to a nation. Jesus.
Which, like, that. Wait, is that a real sentence people walk around saying?
Oh yeah, a lot of people say that you're anti-Semitic if you don't support Israel because Jewish people should be tied to Israel.
Okay,
Jewish people are diasporic people, so no.
I think white people should be tied to a continent. Wait, what the fuck? So they, by default, they're supposed to have a nation,
Yes,
and it's supposed to be Palestine.
yes.
All right.
And if you don't agree with supporting Israel, then you're anti-Semitic.
All right, I don't agree with that. And if you want to make me agree, obviously I'm very unreasonable, which means you're gonna have to kick my ass and make me agree. So run up.
Well, I mean, it's a horrible fucking idea. It's actually fucking anti-Semitic to say that shit. Because
Oh.
keep in mind, Israel is like racially a lot like the United States. There's a lot of fucking segregation, right? They love deporting African Jews. They were fucking sterilizing the Ethiopian Jews and shit like that. And so it's not just when we say apartheid state, it's not just how they're treating Palestinians, it's also how they treat non-white Jewish people. And so basically it's like saying that we're no longer going to refer to basically, you know, as you would say here, like descendants of slavery as African American. You have to be African now because you have to be tied to America as an American. Like you don't get your own specific fucking, and it's fucking bullshit. I fucking hate it.
Damn near kind of sounds like Tariq Nasheed right now when he's running around saying foundational Black American.
Goofy as fuck.
Yeah, because like he wants to end the Pan-Africanism idea. So we're actually going to go through this whole clip. It's a 5-minute clip, and I think that'll be the rest of the evening and the rest of the episode.
Yep.
Is Bill Maher and Megyn Kelly. I know nothing of this clip. I have not seen this episode. This is just something that Phoenix Calida made part of my life, and high-heeled shoes don't make sense. What the fuck is that? All right.
About the schools, because I really... Okay, so I want to talk to you about the schools, because I really just wanted you back here because I read this, that you took your kids out of the school in New York, and I have been hearing anecdotally very much the same thing from many parents. You know, parents confide in me, I guess, because I don't have kids. It usually starts with, you're so lucky you don't have kids. And then I hear about their problems. But just tell us why, basically, you did this.
Yeah. Well, we loved our schools. We were in the New York City private school system. Our boys went to an all-boys school and our daughter to an all-girls school.
All right, segregate the boys from the school so that the boys can learn how to be boys and talk about girls the way they talk about them, and then interact with them later on.
Mm-hmm.
Boys need vasectomies.
Love our teachers, love the students and the faculty and the parents. And they were
This is what liberals really love to tune into. They want to listen to a rich Republican and a rich Democrat talk about being rich. That's what this is
He's
so
like
far.
best friends with Ann Coulter.
Yeah.
And still kept a show. He's fucking friends with Bill O'Reilly.
Like, keep in mind, and like the white feminist Democrats absolutely love Bill Maher. I remember, but I can never forget when I was 18 looking at his stand-up comedy, because I love stand-up comedy. And he complained about I'm going to have to say this word to quote him, the pussification of America.
Yeah.
And he said the reason why he calls it the pussification is because feelings matter more than facts now.
Mm-hmm.
And this is who white feminist Democrats are rushing to, the pussification guy.
definitely leftists. We're more center right, but that was fine. My whole family are Democrats. It wasn't like I was bothered by the fact that they leaned a bit left. But then they went hard left. Then they started to take a really hard turn towards social justice stuff. And at our...
Oh, shit. Apparently social justice stuff is a hard turn left.
It is.
What? Transgender women?
Oh, don't worry. She's going to talk about trans issues.
Oh, fuck. All right. This is why we have trigger warnings. This is what we play for.
Boys' school in particular, it started with when our son was in 3rd grade, they unleashed a 3-week experimental...
Unleashed.
Mm-hmm. Like police dogs.
Unleashed.
Trans education program on these 8 and 9-year-old boys. And it wasn't about support. It was about, we felt like it was more about trying to convince them, like, wait, come on over.
So it's not what it was about, it's what you felt it was about.
Correct.
Oh, Jesus.
Like, hey, come on over. And the boys started to get confused, and they had to implement this system where they raise their hand. If you're really confused, put up a 1. If you're just a little confused, too, like.
How old are they now?
They were 8 and 9 at the time. And
now, folks, when I was just barely 6 years old, I learned what AIDS was, and subsequently I immediately had to learn what like anal sex was and what gay is.
Mm-hmm.
Learned all those things. You know what I also did? Went outside and played football with the other children, and went outside and played freeze fucking tag with the other children.
Well, right, but also notice she's not giving any specific examples of how they're saying, come on over to our side and be trans. All she said is they implemented a trans awareness program or a trans education program and felt like it was encouraging the boys to be trans. What does that mean?
Yeah. Fine. All right.
We objected, and so did a lot of other parents, to the point where the school had to apologize for that one, which they very rarely did. Then our kindergartner was told to write a letter to the Cleveland Indians objecting to their mascot. Now,
So your kindergartners can already write?
Hmm.
That's ill. And you're complaining still.
he's 6. Like,
Yeah, your kindergartner's 6?
Whoa.
Okay, never mind. They should probably be able to. All right. Megyn Kelly raising the shit out of them kids.
can he learn how to spell Cleveland before we,
Right.
activate him? He lives in New York City. We got
Nigga, I could spell potato better than the vice president when I was that age.
Shit.
buses, we got subways, we got crime. He's got things to worry about other than social activism.
What
And if it's
crime
gonna
does he
be
have to worry about in a fucking segregated private school in New York City? What crime? When is the last time y'all were on a fucking subway and like in danger?
Right, crime. So Megan with a H stole Megan with a Y's bump of cocaine.
Ugh,
That's a crime.
that's a crime.
Okay.
Yes.
And then Megan with no H or no Y.
Megan. Mhm.
God. Like, just come up with different names. Stop trying to spell Megan and Brittany as many ways as you possibly fucking
And
can.
Kayla.
Okay, I don't know that one.
And Kaylee.
Oh, I know that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, stop it.
activated. Doug and I should do it. Not a kindergarten teacher. Didn't run it
And
by
this
us.
is what I've heard from parents, and these are all liberal, by the way, people
course,
who
it-
say,
on this,
my kids are not ready to be told they're white supremacists.
that's right. And on this,
I'm not.
Really? Is that what they're doing?
No, saying white supremacy exists does not mean your kid is a Nazi. Like, fucking. But remember, we can't talk about feelings. We need facts. This is a very fact-driven segment, you see.
Yeah, all facts. And then also, like, again, stop pretending that Democrats are me. I'll tell your kid they're a white supremacist.
You would,
Fucking Democrats won't.
right?
Not ready to be
can
told.
I tell you,
that.
Bill, on
know,
this, we're not left and right. We're not black and white. This is a question.
Nah, we're not left or right. We're not black and white. None of
Mhm,
those things exist anymore. Even though you just mentioned that you got family members that are Democrats that are leaning left.
Mhm.
But now we're not that anymore. And then also, back on the Bill O'Reilly segment, I'm pretty sure you knew goddamn well what black and white was.
Yep.
Question of reason and unreason.
But you talked about this letter that the school put out.
So this is on the
Can I,
race issue.
can I read some of the things that are from this letter?
Yep.
Unless people think I'm losing my mind. There's a killer cop sitting in every school where white children learn.
Oh,
Well, there is.
yeah.
So,
But they don't like that. See, now this is just that bootlicker
Now,
shit.
but this is also the thing where they're like, this is about facts. No, facts are you can't trust cops. That's a fucking fact.
Yeah. Do cops not kill people?
Right? Like how many cops need to kill people before it's okay to distrust police?
Yeah, and again, it's like, yeah, Bill Maher, he himself is scum, but there is a whole machine around Bill Maher that makes that show come out,
Yep.
right? And they will replace him with the very next cat that'll say the same talking points.
But see, it's interesting to me to compare this to Megyn Kelly's thing with Bill O'Reilly, where she was talking about black men are such and such % more likely to suffer police brutality. But now you're mad that someone's telling your kids that cops in schools are dangerous?
Well, yeah, well, it's okay to say it to this Fox News audience that is going to fucking fart it out the other ear in half a second, but don't say it to children that might memorize it.
White children are left unchecked and unbothered in their homes, one sentence starts. Well, how old do you have to be before you can just be unchecked and unbothered?
Right.
Wait, that's vague. What the fuck is unchecked and unbothered?
I don't know.
Yeah, white children left unchecked and unbothered.
I
Yeah,
wonder if they're talking about like calling like child services on black parents who, like the one we just covered with the that young woman who left her kids in the hotel room while she was at work. And so
yeah.
they call like, I wonder if it's like that, where it's like, oh, there's a black mom who had to go to work or go to a job interview and they called child services on her and sent her to jail, versus a white parent who, gets a $300,000 GoFundMe and a new house. I wonder if that was what they were talking about and he's just not giving us full context.
Decontextualize Mar.
What age do you get bothered? I'm tired of white people reveling in their state-sanctioned depravity, snuffing out black life with no consequences.
Yeah.
Those are real things.
Because Megyn Kelly, when was she schooling Bill Maher in white privilege? What was happening in the background?
Ferguson.
Who went to prison for murdering Mike Brown?
Mike Brown. Kinda.
What? Okay.
Go reform white kids.
Yeah,
You know,
go reform white kids, please.
Yeah.
Before they become a Kyle Rittenhouse or a Dylan Roof.
Like, who the fuck?
Or the next Megyn Kelly.
Yeah. Who do you think is terrorizing black kids? Like, again, in 1988, when we first landed in Spanaway, Washington, literally, like, the first day, like, after shit is, like, unpacked a bit, and our mother's like, our mother's an old East Coast lady born in the 50s. She's immediately like, go outside and find some other kids to play with. And first few hours in Spanaway, get called niggers by another kid. Literally, his name was Rodney on Spanaway Lane East. He lived lower down on the block, and his sister was Susan. Got called niggers right off top.
Mhm.
So yeah, fix your fucked up kids.
Mhm.
It bothers me so much that I have to be on this side of this issue.
Yeah.
You don't have to be. You're choosing to be.
And
Nobody made you go there.
and it can't bother you that much. It can't.
It bothers me. I'm gonna sob into this pile of $100 bills. Oh my god. Oh my god. Somebody find a Mexican maid to clean it for me. It's very tragic. I'm very traumatized.
It bothers him.
I've always been a civil rights advocate.
No, you
know,
haven't.
Civil rights
Shut
advocate.
the fuck up.
Yeah. Right? It's hard to listen to, It's fucking annoying.
I hate this guy.
And don't make me Tucker Carlson.
We
You're the-
didn't. That's who you are choosing to be.
Yeah, like him and Tucker Carlson but you're both old East Coast racist white dudes.
Jesus.
Fucking nuts. This is insane. As black bodies drop like flies around us by violent white hands, there is racist problems in this country. But this is hyperbole. And this is
I'm
making
sorry. Last time I checked, over 1,000 people were murdered by police, and the vast majority of them were black. How many bodies do you need before you say dropping like flies? And that's not counting, because this just happened. How many black people died from COVID due to fucking basically eugenics policies from the government? How many fucking black people are dying in prisons right now? How many fucking black people are dying due to America's foreign policy of just fucking carpet bombing everything? Oh, I don't know, there's a problem. Let's find a drone. We can fix it. How many people need to die before this isn't hyperbole?
Yeah.
How many? We're at what? Like over 500,000 people dead from COVID alone, which is more than what? World War I, World War II, and Vietnam combined? But it's hyperbole.
That's why I call Bill Maher. He's Chris Matthews with the F word. And yeah, he's basically here. And keep in mind, like, who's his target audience? Fucking Democrats.
Yep.
So, like, when the Democrats turn around and they're apathetic to you, remember, this is the propaganda that, as Driftglass of the Professional Left podcast says, he's taking a shit in your brain, but he always says that about Rush Limbaugh and Republicans. Bill Maher's taking a shit in your partisan Democrat brain.
Well, I mean, literally, what is he saying? He's saying it's hyperbole to say black bodies are dropping like flies, but then also says, but yeah, we have racism. And is that not like fucking liberals? We're like, yeah, there's some race problems, but we've come so far, man. We're doing so much better since Martin Luther King. Now you know where they get these fucking talking points from.
people crazy.
Yeah.
And children, this is not the way we get to the promised land.
Absolutely not. It's divisive.
And straight up use Martin Luther King's language.
It's racist. And it's
It's racist
to talk about dead people being murdered by police.
having exactly the opposite effect of the one they intend. And it is not that
It's not having the opposite effect. You're making the opposite effect.
Mhm.
This makes the opposite effect,
Mhm.
motherfucker. Right? Like, like one thing I noticed, because like I grew up in like the early stages of the gangster rap era,
Mhm.
and I knew white kids that were more sympathetic to black people because they heard the journalism of gangster rap, and they were like, "This is what the fuck the police are doing to y'all,"
Mhm.
you know?
all the black people in our school or other schools are in favor of this kind of talk. My friend Coleman Hughes, who's 24, he's a liberal, he
Yeah,
was
we
a
had him
Biden
on,
voter, you
sure.
know Coleman. He's been speaking out about this as a black man, saying, how dare you presume to know how I feel?
Oh, we
to try
found
to-
one. It only takes
Ah.
one, and they found you.
My 24-year-old black friend.
I mean, it's pejorative to him. Like the whites are the ones who understand, who are arrogant and in control and work hard, right? These are all the terms now associated with white supremacy. And then
But
the
you
white people,
literally said in your fucking Bill O'Reilly segment.
But now white supremacy is air quotes. Right. So
Okay.
basically, you can go farther left on Bill O'Reilly's show than you can on Bill Maher's show. Do you understand American politics yet, folks? I know some of the homies are tuned in. Dr. Mo, this is the kind of shit.
And this is why we have essentially a uniparty.
Yeah.
This is why we have one party that has two very closely related sides. Because you can go left on Bill O'Reilly, but you have to stay right on Bill Maher.
And this is why I have to keep doing the podcast, because like this sort of way of expanding the context, it's not like other programmers are not doing good programs. They're doing better programs than mine, god damn it. There's dope ass shows out there.
Mm-hmm.
But like always remembering to pull back that old shit, that old propaganda someone put out.
Mm-hmm.
And again, let's say it again. You could go farther left on fucking Bill O'Reilly on Fox News than you can on Bill Maher on HBO.
Yep.
And you pay more for Bill Maher.
Mhm.
Get the fuck out.
feel bad and feel judged because they're told they're white supremacists because of a pigmentation over which they have no control. It's so divisive.
And we're not getting told. Tamir Rice didn't get told shit
Mm-hmm.
due to a pigmentation that he had no control.
Mm-hmm.
But again, Megyn Kelly knows better.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I mean, let's just keep it all the way mad official with Megyn Kelly here.
I mean, Jesus was a white man too.
All right.
Mhm.
Also a white supremacist, damn Jesus.
Yes.
They'll judge because they're told they're white supremacists because of a pigmentation over which they have no control. It's so divisive and counterproductive. And it wasn't just our school in New York. And it's not just New York. I mean, all over New York privates, New York publics, there was no place to move them in New York to get away from this. So it wasn't just our school. There's a public school on the Upper East Side of Manhattan that just got in the news because they gave out this panoply of 8 categories into which all white people fall. And on the one end is white supremacist, and on the
Yeah.
other end is it was white traitor, basically, white abolitionist. And they're really
Oh, okay. I know what
Okay,
you're talking
let me
about.
take
Yeah,
a look
this,
at this.
yeah.
Okay, white supremacist, white voyeurism, white privilege,
Mhm.
white benefit, white confessional.
Mhm.
Oh shit. I think I got some of them folks hanging around.
Mhm.
White critical. All right, those are people I tend to interact with.
Mhm.
White traitor. I know them niggas.
Mhm.
And white abolitionist.
Mhm.
As far as like, you see, some of these are action and some of these are position, right? Abolitionist is, yeah, okay, let's put traitor versus white voyeurism. One is action and one is just, no, I guess voyeurism is
That is
action
an action.
because you're just watching. So someone's a
Mhm.
supremacist, they're deliberately acting.
Yeah.
A voyeur, they're just like, ah, damn, that nigga doing some wild shit.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, he got to do it. White privilege, hey, I'm doing what I got to do.
Mm-hmm.
What are you gonna do? Right? That's like Kyle Kalinske. White benefit. They could probably narrow it down a bit. Privilege and benefit can be melded together. Confessional. So I guess those are the ones that can say, you know what? I'm pretty sure I said some fucked up shit. When
Yeah,
I
but
was
that's
like
that
12.
white guilt shit. Of like, yeah, racism is so bad, but I just don't know what to do.
Oh, so if you're looking at it between white benefit and white critical is white confessional,
Mhm.
where you just said, what did you say there?
Oh, I said, well, they're like, everything is so bad and racism is real, but I just don't know what to do.
And that's like wait, no, you called it white guilt.
Yes, white
And
guilt.
what they're always complaining, they're like, don't have white guilt
Mhm.
because that's a gateway drug to being white critical.
It literally is.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing, when you stop feeling, because the white guilt is used a lot of times to be like, yeah, I benefit from white privilege, but I feel bad about it, so you can't yell at me for being racist because I feel like really, really bad, but still not doing anything to actively dismantle white supremacy. And so, yeah, when you get past the guilt and you're like, okay, maybe I should actually do something, that's when you start getting to white critical and moving further along.
Yeah, all right, but they have a problem with this. All
Mhm.
right, let them articulate it. This the clip is shortening out here.
Yeah, when she keeps talking about all these schools but didn't mention a single one by name. Okay.
Encouraging you to be more of a white traitor. It's like everybody gets divided into oppressed or oppressor, right? On racial identity.
No, see, now there's 8, but then she said, but you know, you're
There's
one of
2.
2. All
They're
right,
obsessed with binaries.
yeah, Jesus,
Obsessed.
it's rhetorically easier.
On sexual identity. Cupertino, California, they did the same thing. They took 8 and 9-year-olds and made them deconstruct their racial and sexual identity to figure out whether they were an oppressor or the oppressed. 8-year-olds, right?
What school
I mean,
was
this
this?
is really damn.
Did that actually happen? Like, I don't know. You're just saying it without giving me like source material. I don't believe you,
Yeah,
since you think Jesus was a white man too.
and also, and think about that back to the Bill O'Reilly clip from 2014, 7 years prior to this. She said, I did some research, and you could see her looking down at
Yep,
notes.
and reading her notes.
Yeah, but
Yep.
for this one, hey, just riff, just
Just riff. You
wing
don't need
it. Is
facts.
that what they call it?
Yep. Fuck it. We'll do it live.
They're doing it. She learned from the best. Do it live.
Damaging. And as you get older, what the studies show is these sort of implicit
What
bias
studies? Who did these studies? Whomst?
efforts.
The studies that you read and agreed with, I'm pretty sure, you fucking lawyer.
Ugh.
You fucking lawyer piece of shit. Wait a second. You know what? Megyn Kelly has earned a spot.
Yes, queen. Go off, girl boss. Pussy hat slay.
Bring out racism. So if somebody's having racist thoughts in the back of their head, it brings it to the frontal lobe, and more people act on their latent racism.
So wait,
than
so
they
if we talk about racism, it causes more white people to be racist?
Yeah, you know what? I'll do that without me cutting into it and let her really just say what you just yeah.
their racial and sexual identity to figure out whether they were an oppressor or the oppressed. 8-year-olds, right? I mean, this is really damaging. And as you get older,
You know what? And
You just said.
yeah, because I'm noticing how she's leaning on 8-year-olds. And again, if you listen to recent episodes or if you've been tuned in long term, I've mentioned Robert Lee Pilcher III. Again, back to Spanaway
Wow.
Lane.
You are obsessed with saying his name.
I like to say names right? Benjamin Kyle Harbor, Todd Jeffrey Foss. Say the names, right? And 8 years old, complaining about Martin Luther King because that means a black guy that's not that good at the job can get a job where his dad works before a white guy who is good at it can get it.
Mm-hmm.
8-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
older, what the studies show is these sort of implicit biased education efforts bring out racism. So if somebody's having racist thoughts in the back of their head, it brings it to the frontal lobe.
Or does the 8-year-old go home to their racist white parents that are making them racist?
Mm-hmm.
And when they say, what did you learn in school? Oh, we learned about racism. And the parents pump some more propaganda into their head and tell them how it's wrong and how they need to set it straight. And then they come and bring that extra aggression back to school.
Well, I mean, twice in this segment alone, she has said that the problem is that white people are being targeted by anti-racist education. Twice in this segment alone, she said that white people being targeted is the real race problem.
Well, don't be racist anymore, and it will be targeted to
Yeah,
the
well,
next
maybe she
group.
should stop talking about it, and then black people will stop being racist to white people, because talking about it brings it to your frontal lobe and it makes you more racist.
Yeah, you want to end reverse racism, stop talking about reverse racism.
And more people act on their latent racism than
If I get diagnosed with COVID, I'm gonna lynch a white man.
they otherwise would have.
Which is also interesting too, because she's talking about 8-year-olds being taught this and how it brings it to their frontal lobe. But then she says people act on their latent racism. What happened to the 8-year-old little angels you were talking about? Right.
I don't know. When it comes to people acting on their,
I mean, Jesus was a white man too, but you know, it's like he was a historical figure. I mean, that's a verifiable fact, as is Santa. I just want the kids watching to know that.
Yeah.
But my point is, how do you just revise it, you know, in the middle of the legacy of the story and change Santa from white to black?
Yeah.
the legacy of
Also,
Santa.
I just want to point out that it's not in this clip, but also during this episode of his show with Megyn Kelly being on Bill Maher's show,
Yeah.
he referred to her, he complimented her dress and called her the pretty blonde normal one at Fox News who was surrounded by monsters. She's the pretty blonde normal one. That's how Bill Maher referred to her. Yeah, we should definitely trust these people to fucking talk about racism.
Damn, and it looks like somebody may have it looks like someone straight uploaded the whole damn episode to YouTube. All right, well, your account's about to get flagged. I mean, not by me, but damn, nigga. Jesus Christ, someone was very dedicated to getting this episode out to folks. I doubt that I'll find the clip in any amount of time that I would like.
And then Mara said, don't gaslight me. I feel like this is beyond race. I feel like it's a generational thing where people want their identity wrapped up in being a victim. And Kelly said that's the push now, is to lean into victimhood. And it's not just a race thing. I see some of it with my fellow women. It's not that the Me Too situation wasn't real, but we don't have to lean into victimhood.
On some level, yeah, actually, Megan, you are a lean-in feminist.
Oh, very much so.
And at a time when teenage suicide is at an all-time high, you know, kids come into this world, these little boys in particular, white kids, they can't control that they're white. Same way.
Oh no, won't someone think of the poor white males?
All right, so yeah, there's way more, and we just don't have time to get to it. You know what? If I see a comment and someone says, "Yo, do the whole shit," we'll do the whole shit. I can actually, I'll just preemptively download this, and we can do the whole shit if somebody does want that. But for now, we already have a relatively long episode of Wine Cellar Activity to share with you. All right, so you're gonna have yourself some little reefer candies.
Yeah.
All right, and I guess I'll let you folks in on something. I just talked to my biological niece. I want to say yes. Yeah, I guess technically it was yesterday, but it's 2 a.m. So it's kind of
almost 3.
Yeah, 3 a.m. But it was about 7, somewhere around 6:30 p.m. when she called me. And we just riffed for a while. And one thing, she actually said the word capitalism, right? And she was like, I don't know, Uncle Billy. I think with capitalism, it's not too good. She wasn't feeling it. Talked about patriarchy, rape culture. My niece is 20 years old now. Yeah, born in 2001. And it looks like she's probably gonna end up moving up here with us. And the way she and I were kicking it, talking, might end up pulling up a chair and getting on the microphone.
Yeah.
She says she's into writing songs. She would still like to do her own lingerie business. And I think she needs to get the hell out of Florida. Yeah, and also just away from certain folks that we were down there around, and out of that culture. Definitely, you know, I'll just say it, away from my own biological sister. Like, my biological sister is a fairly counterproductive person, and it's really shitty why, obviously, like fucking past traumas. But it's like when you're taking those traumas out on your own child and now harming her, we just have to get that child away from you now. My biological sister's a 40-year-old adult, and I've got to focus on this 20-year-old. She got 5 more years of brain development, and let's as George Bush said, let's catapult the propaganda. All right. All right, I like when
Yes.
Phoenix Calida is looking down, wearing her cholo hat and just going, it's over.
Cholo hat.
You have a Hotep cholo hat. I will put I should put a picture up of you and say, is Phoenix Calida a Hotep cholo or what? Or what?
Just my hat.
What? I like how I bought a hat, put it in my bag with my hats, asked you if you want to wear it for the podcast, and here it is, Phoenix, that quick, my hat.
Yes.
My hat. But you see,
Yes.
she's light-skinned, right? She's not light-skinned because of the extra African. She's light-skinned because she is ready to colonize something.
I might be. You don't fucking know.
Right? I had my own podcast, and then she started calling in and said, hey, pretty nice podcast you got there. Be a
Really?
shame if someone were to co-host it.
Is that how it went down? I don't think that's how it went down.
No, it started with fuck everything twice.
Yes.
All right, folks. WineCellarMedia.com. I ain't pitching nothing but the GoFundMe, which I will start linking as I stop this recording.
Yes.
Please be as safe as possible wherever you are.